Hey, what
Catherine Leverett, have you ever heard of her?
what do you think happened in Maui?
Yeah.
Oh, that was planned. The whole thing was planned.
Think they did it on purpose?
Yes, they did. And Oprah's buying up a bunch of the land.
Oprah did it so she could get all her hands on a bunch of properties.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I don't trust that bitch.
Some people think space lasers.
Yeah, that could have been too. That's what they did in California. And only the houses were burned, none of the trees or anything around it.
Yeah, there was a lot of situations when they went over the charred remains. Not in Maui. What do you call the little? I forget the town that caught on fire.
California?
No, in Maui.
Oh, something with an
yeah,
L.
Lahaina or something. So there were some trees that were perfectly good, but the house was fried.
Yeah, exactly.
Weird.
Nah, that doesn't happen. Sorry.
When do you need water the most? When there's a fucking fire.
Right, and they turned it off.
They turned it off. And they said no alarms either. We're not even gonna warn you.
Yeah. And they blocked.
There's 1,000 people still missing. Missing my ass.
They blocked
They're all
the roads.
charred.
They blocked the roads so people couldn't leave.
Yeah, it's like they wanted more. They wanted people to die.
They did.
Because if you're dead, you can't fight for your property, baby.
That's exactly right.
Pretty shit.
And a lot of those indigenous people that live in Hawaii, the Hawaiians, yeah, they want to take all their land away from them.
Damn white colonizers. Well, Oprah's black. She's a black colonizer.
Yeah, she's bad. She's horrible. She's a sex slaver.
Yeah, it's some kind of land grab going on there.
It is. It's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Do you think? I think that if we don't believe in global warming, they're going to just keep setting the planet on fire. Right? Until we all take a knee to the global warming gods.
That is so.
Yeah, the millionaires' houses didn't burn, just the poor people's houses did. That's another peculiar thing. Rick, can you tell me what you think happened in Maui with those fires?
What I really think happened?
Yeah, what do you really think happened?
I think they were all set.
Set?
I think they're set.
Well, you know all the forest fires that are happening in Canada, those are all on purpose.
We got fires.
That looks like arson.
We got fires just burning certain segments.
You triggered bitch!
Yeah,
dumb weirdo triggered bitch! He's hanging out of her car.
I hope you have a great future!
Right out of the car, rent free in your head.
All triggered people sound like that.
They're going to get their fudge rounds.
Yeah. So it was done on purpose, I think.
I think it was done on purpose. I mean, there's thoughts that maybe it was some sort of laser or something like some
space lasers, Rick.
Some kind of technology that can. And who's to say that we don't have the technology to do that, or the technology doesn't exist to do that? Why not? Why can't it happen?
Well, most of the evidence points to it was power lines that started it. From the winds blowing, and then it ignited all that stuff. You know how Democrats, lefties, they don't like to do any forest management because they might hurt a squirrel.
It's just that when people have a history of lying, I just don't believe them anymore.
So why didn't they set the alarms off for people?
That's
warning signs.
That's a good question.
And they weren't allowed to use water because they shut the water off on them.
Couldn't use water. You gotta use the water in only certain locations. I guess maybe that's to put kitchen fires out.
Seems weird.
Like Biden and his kitchen fire.
Yeah, you like Biden? He said, yeah, me and Jill know how you feel. I had a kitchen fire once that was put out in 20 minutes.
Thousands of people.
Imagine that, telling that to some person that lost their kid.
They lost everything. Lost their children. Some people lost their families.
Yeah.
Lost
Homes, their whole house.
Lost everything. Yeah. And he's talking about
Biden should have been honest and said, I almost lost all my cocaine in that fire.
But luckily there were no cameras, so they couldn't find out who actually owned the cocaine.
Yeah. Well, apparently they found out whose cocaine it was, and Biden's been informed, but that's as far as it goes.
Because they know who it is.
You ever seen Biden when he isn't on cocaine? He looks very sleepy.
Sleepy Joe?
Sleepy Joe. What do you think happened in Maui over there? You think it was just an accident or was mismanagement?
Well, it was certainly mismanagement. I'm not going to get into laser weapons or anything like that that a lot of people are talking about, but serious mismanagement. Fire hydrants were dry, no firefighters there. I lived in Hawaii for 3 years. I never saw anything like what went on there.
It could be the whole town was run by diversity hires.
Well.
You know what I mean?
It's a tragedy, is certainly what it is, and nobody seems to care. And it took Biden 2 weeks, you know, 2 vacations before he finally went out there and said anything or did anything.
Yeah. And then he left there and went straight to another vacation.
Yeah, back to some
Tahoe.
billionaire's home in Tahoe.
Yeah.
It's very sad, and I feel sorry for those people over
Biden
there.
would have been better off not even showing up.
No, he wouldn't have. He would have been better off. And then the news gets on and defends him. Though we saw the videos of everybody giving him the finger and FJB and all that. The news. Oh no, that didn't happen. Everything was fine. Yeah, right. Okay.
But those people in Maui will still vote blue.
They will.
Yeah.
They will. Yeah, they're brainwashed too, and they continue to be brainwashed. And you know, thank God there are some of the blacks who have woken up. Blacks for Trump. They were up in Georgia yesterday.
Did you see Trump when he left the courthouse? He drove through like some of the worst parts of the black community, and they were all cheering him.
I did see that, so I'm very happy to see. The only plantation any blacks are living on is because the Democrats are still holding them there. Go with Trump. He wants to give you as much as you all deserve to have, and you're not missing out on any jobs or anything else. The Democrats are holding you down.
So apparently the blacks hate the police unless they're arresting Trump?
Apparently. Well,
Trump's being persecuted and harassed and arrested by the top police in the country. You think the blacks would be like, hey man,
you think they'd be on his side?
Yeah.
You know?
Yep, the Democrats have been essentially the racist side from the get-go.
From the get-go.
And they still are.
They started the KKK, Jim Crow laws.
Yeah.
All of that was Democrats.
The only thing different with the Democrat Party is the people that they hate, the color has changed. Now they hate the white people.
Right. Y'all don't forget, Abraham Lincoln was the first Republican. Freed the slaves. And since then, the Democrats have been fighting to keep slavery and the blacks down.
Yeah. And they've been doing a good job of it. The black population, they were 13% of the population 50, 60 years ago, and they still are.
Yes.
So the Democrats' plan is working.
Every painting, every picture Nancy Pelosi took down was her ancestors, not directly, but the ancestors of the Democratic Party. They were all the racists that held everybody down.
So they did this DNA thing with all of the living presidents, and Trump was the only one whose ancestors never owned slaves.
I heard that. The only one of all the presidents, he's the only one that never owned slaves.
Even Obama's side owned slaves.
Yep.
Crazy. Even Kamala.
Don't believe what they're telling you.
No. All right, guys. Anybody have any theories on what happened in Maui?
Well,
they did it intentionally.
It was
intentional fires.
You got a guy that facilitated the fiasco in Vegas. Then he left that and got this cush job doing nothing. And he basically admitted, due to equity, he didn't give them water from 1 o'clock, even though they were screaming from 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock. They had the roads blocked.
What did he do? Shut the water off on them?
Yes.
He shut the water off when they were having fires.
Directed it to the billionaires' mansions and
Oh,
stuff.
he diverted it to the millionaires. I got it.
Their houses weren't burned, but everybody else's were.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The governor said right after it was done, when it was still smoldering in the background, we're probably going to take some of this land.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you had people trying to buy the land
Right away.
within 24 hours.
Sick.
Yeah, it was all intentional. All intentional. Killing all of those
No one will
people.
ever be held accountable, though, will they?
Communists usually are not, and that's a big issue right there in Hawaii. Always has.
And the media won't talk about it because they're on board with the lefties.
We have
agenda.
the evidence, so
Well,
we
see, they
keep
never did anything
archiving
about Vegas.
the videos, the
Vegas
articles
was a
that they
scam.
admitted it. Even AP had to admit that it was negligence
What's the plan?
and that they
Same
let it
plan last
happen.
week?
So even the Associated Press, with all of its issues, had to admit that these people that were in charge of that situation, they could have done more to prevent it and to take more action during the event itself. But they did not. They redirected the water. They let the brush build up towards the power lines. They didn't cut the power when it should have been cut, and that was the biggest issue.
I even heard that the cops were blocking the road
They
so
were
people
blocking the roads
so that people couldn't get out.
Correct.
Did they want people to die
They
there?
wanted to- yes.
They let the schools out and let all the little kids go home, and a lot of the parents were working.
Correct.
There's probably a lot of those people that are missing are little kids.
And sadly enough, it's not just hundreds of people, it's probably thousands of people that were burned.
And I heard the same thing. They let the kids out of school, had them at home, the water wasn't on. They told everybody everything's fine, go back to your homes.
Yeah.
And never forget the principles of the left. never let a crisis go to waste. So they took the fire. That's a crisis. They never let a crisis go to waste. Whether it's COVID-19 or a fire in Maui, it's all the same principle.
Well, they want you to think that it's global warming kind of a thing, but it's negligence.
Correct.
Or on purposeness.
Yes, but they always
Never
have
let a crisis go to waste.
they have to try to leverage their agenda, their future agenda, for the current events that happen. Just like Vegas and stuff, they tried to say, oh, well, we need less guns on the street and stuff, when that wasn't the case issue at all. They should have taken precautions in that hotel to make sure that somebody in there didn't have a bunch of guns and could take out that many people. And we have a lot of questions about the Vegas shooting in general still to this day that have not been answered.
Yeah, they'll never tell you.
They'll never tell us the
Well, I
full
think
truth.
if we all come to the conclusion that global warming is a problem, maybe they'll stop catching everything on fire.
Well, it's not the issue. We can counter their climate hoax because we have experts that have come forward and told us this whole thing that the left and the Democrats and the rest of them, it's a big hoax. All they want is more control and more money and more lockdowns. They don't want just COVID lockdowns. They want climate lockdowns.
That's
and
nuts.
anybody can look that up.
No, thanks. Yeah, so if there's a scientist that's out there talking about global warming, it's usually because he's making money from the government. The government fills out his paycheck for him.
Correct.
And if he says there's no global warming, then he don't get no paycheck no more.
They're not representing us, we the people.
People who don't get money from the government will tell you what's happening.
Correct.
Yeah. Truth. All right, what do you guys think happened in Maui? I think it was a bunch of diversity hires, didn't know what they were doing, mismanagement, and ignorance. You know what I mean? I don't know if I'd say that it was done on purpose, but it's not out of the realm of possibilities. Okay guys, follow my Rumble page. It's the only place where freedom of speech reigns supreme. And follow me on Twitter, Paint the Trump. We'll be back out here to Orange City in 2 weeks. We're waving flags out here every other Friday. So get your butts out here next time. Do it!
And when he boards Air Force One, he spins around and he hits the floor. He's got the moves. He hits the deck, then he hits some more. All the Dems are so sick of Joe, they really would like to see him end. He his pants when he went to the Vatican. All the kids in the DNC say, slide your feet up the street, hump your back, stiffen your arms, don't pull them back. Life's hard, you know, when entering in the Cadillac. If you wanna know where it stops, it ends in dementia and the cops, they sing and dance when finding the confidential docs. Then they arrest all his men while Putin laughs in the Kremlin. And the Chinese know he's owned by them and Ukrainians. All the cops in the DOJ say, walk like a Joe Biden. Walk like a Joe Biden.